1928, Plain Crazy was the birth, the ignition, the debut of one of the most iconic cartoon stars to ever exist, Mickey Mouse. The extremely creative mind of Walt Disney has pioneered the way animated films were made, through technology, through expression, and most importantly, through imagination. The company has come a very long way since then, releasing beloved adaptations of the fairy tales we've come to know and love.
He did what?
Went that way.
Who did?
The White Rabbit.
What rabbit?
1986, on the other side of the world, in Yokohama, Japan, a small software division of a power line company was slowly emerging from the gravel, going by the name of Square. However, a number of their games weren't selling too well, which led them on the verge of bankruptcy. They had one last shot, one final shot. The life and well-being of the company laid in the hands of one designer, Hironobu Sakaguchi, and his do-or-die game, Final Fantasy. So, did it work? Well, after 15 entries, I'd say yes. Over the years, characters from both companies have gone on to global stardom statuses. But, as you can see, they're also from two very different worlds. So this begs the question, how did this match made in heaven come to be? Well, we've got to go back to 1996, where Nintendo's All-Star Plumber made his first jump into 3D. During this time, Square was cooking up their next big hit, Final Fantasy VII. As a mere designer, Tetsuya Nomura had juicy ambitions. After seeing the epicness that was Super Mario 64, Nomura wanted to do the exact same. That is, until his fellow colleagues reminded him of Mario's superiority, and that there was just no way to compete. Though interesting enough, one of them did say, "Nomura-san, the only way you could do it is with characters that are as well known as Disney's." Those words stuck with Nomura until one fateful day where he happened to do a little eavesdropping on his seniors, Shinji Hashimoto and Sakaguchi himself. At the time, they were discussing a possible collaboration with Disney. Whoa, Disney? Nomura thought. He raised his hand instantly and requested to be part of whatever they were discussing.
All for one, one for all.
Excited about the upcoming meeting with Disney, Nomura had already visualized how he wanted this game to be. Though sadly for him, Disney had their own agenda. Disney producers went into the meeting expecting Square to just make whatever they told them to. An irritated Nomura interrupted their presentation and said, "I won't make such games. This man has balls of steel." He proceeded to show them concepts of Sora with a chainsaw. Yes, a chainsaw. Nomura's intentions were to shatter the notion that Disney games were only for kids. Well, as you can imagine, they weren't too happy with that. Despite opposition from their staff, Bob Iger, Disney's president at the time, was surprisingly generous towards Nomura's ideas. He only had a few guidelines, and that was to stay true with what appeared in the worlds of Disney and their characters. For example, he specifically said Donald and Goofy were only allowed to carry nothing but a stick or a shield. And I have no idea why, but Mickey was only allowed to appear in one scene throughout the entire game. So, Nomura had to choose wisely. Disney then held a special class where their animators gave the Square team more insight behind their cartoons. Director Tatsuya Kando actually spent 6 months watching nothing but Disney films just to study the characters inside out. Though honestly, I think it really paid off in the end. Every word spoken and every action taken was almost one-to-one with the original. As for Sora, he went through many changes before his final design. Nomura had jumped through many flaming hoops to get his idea through to Disney. In the end, he prevailed. But now that the cosmetics were settled, the real challenge was coming. Gameplay. Nomura realized the majority of Japanese gamers preferred the command-based RPGs, while the Western audience favored the action-based RPGs. Ever since he started working on Final Fantasy, he has always tried to squeeze in some action elements into the commands, like the overdrives in Final Fantasy X, for example. In this new collab with Disney, he wanted to make the perfect balance. Because of this, trouble hit. Most of the staff at Square had little to no experience with action games, which led to much panic and anxiety throughout the development. Though despite these rough times, how did the game turn out?
I just can't wait. Once we set sail, it'll be great.
Well, it was released in March of 2002, called Kingdom Hearts. The name was inspired by Disney's theme parks, specifically Animal Kingdom. Though of course, they couldn't simply name it Kingdom. So this was when Nomura decided to revolve the game around hearts, hence Kingdom Hearts. The story starts off on the beautiful Destiny Islands. Interesting enough, it's also Nomura's favorite world. Coming from the daydreams we all have at our 9 to 5, Destiny Islands was inspired by Nomura wanting to escape his desk job and enjoy tropical paradise. In the world of Kingdom Hearts, this paradise is home to 3 close friends, Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Curious about what's beyond their small world, they build a raft in an attempt to venture off. Unfortunately, a storm hit and all 3 were separated. One to the darkness, one to the abyss, and as for our main protagonist, to Traverse Town. He later teams up with Donald and Goofy. Together, they set off to various worlds looking for their special someone. For those who have followed our Zelda retrospective, if you thought that timeline was heavy, well, it's nothing compared to the narrative behind Kingdom Hearts. Now, just to note, it didn't start off this complicated. Given Disney's target audience, Nomura thought he should revolve the game around a simple plot. Initially, all Sora had to do was defeat Maleficent as the final boss. The Disney princes would come save their respective princesses. Then the game would end, meaning no Xehanort and his myriad of forms. But that all changed when Sakaguchi came in and said, "If we don't give Kingdom Hearts a deep story like Final Fantasy, the game will fail for sure." Thank you, Sakaguchi?
No! I didn't want this!
Whether the complexity of the plot attracts you or not, the aura around the entire game is undeniably deep, thanks to Square. And at the same time, charming, thanks to Disney. Right off the bat, you're thrown into what appears to be the darkest corner of limbo, with the only source of light coming from the Renaissance painting under your feet, and the last ray of hope being the fleeting text from a mysterious voice. All the while, not knowing if the next step you take will be your last. Next thing you know, you're on the calm beaches of Destiny Islands being asked 3 heavy personal life questions. Luckily, the lighthearted nature of Disney's cast gives much needed comic relief to the seriousness of Final Fantasy's cast. Like yin and yang, they make a perfect balance. And I just love the theme of friendship in this game. Near the end, when Sora's story pans out, it's really beautiful.
Take care of her.
As for gameplay, it was good, but not perfect. I know Nomura tried really hard to find middle ground between the action and command styles, but halfway through, combat started to feel a little stale for me. Now, don't get me wrong, casting new spells and learning new summons were fun, but the problem was, I rarely needed to use any of it. Most Heartless could be dispatched with a standard combo, and casting magic felt like nothing more than just speeding up the process. In contrast, the boss fights are no slouch. Definitely the highlights, in my opinion. Amidst all that we've said about Kingdom Hearts, there's still one essential piece of the puzzle that made it all so memorable. Since the game featured world-famous Disney characters, Nomura felt it needed a theme song by the very best artist. And for him, it was one of Japan's most successful singer-songwriters, Utada Hikaru. Everyone around him said it was simply impossible to get her, but he took a chance and made an offer anyway. Surprisingly, Utada was interested in the idea, then went on to compose Hikari, or Simple and Clean. Couple this with high-profile voice actors, your ears were in for a real treat.
2 words. You guys ain't heroes.
Come on!
So following Kingdom Hearts' fantastic reception, Nomura was already discussing a sequel with Disney. And this was when he started hearing voices. Our kids want to play Kingdom Hearts on the GBA. At first, Nomura was like, Kingdom Hearts in 2D? No way. But the voices kept hammering away, all the way from overseas even, so he had to do it. He just had to. Well, you know what they say, when life gives you a lemon, make lemonade. He codenamed the project Lost Memories and decided to use this title as a bridge between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. But now comes the hard part. How's the gameplay gonna work? The GBA was magnitudes weaker than the PS2, so there was just no way the original combat style could be kept. Well, if you've ever played Final Fantasy V, you'll know that players had loads of abilities, but could only equip 3 at a time. Nomura took that concept and gave it a little twist by restricting players to only a deck of cards.
Here!
On the topic, Nomura also helped design the real Kingdom Hearts card game. Yes, there was such a thing. Unfortunately, they've discontinued ever since the trading card game market took a skydive. The game was released in November of 2004 called Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. A remake was later released in 2007 titled Chain of Memories for PS2. Following all the battles, sacrifices, blood, and sweat that Sora has poured into Kingdom Hearts, he finally saved Kairi, but it wasn't home sweet home just yet. Riku and King Mickey were still trapped on the dark side, hence the fantastic trio set out on a new mission. And somehow this peaceful trail led them to a floating castle in some kind of void. Don't ask me how. This was Castle Oblivion, the #1 destination for memory loss. Believing Riku is somewhere inside, Sora makes his way up the castle.
Our very best friends. They're here.
Cards, cards, cards. Cards control the tides of battle. Cards open doors. Cards progress the plot. Though, to be honest, I never really understood Nomura's obsession with using them. Now, it's not bad, but I feel it's a bit overemphasized. You see the numbers here? That's their priority. Higher numbers beat lower numbers. But most of the time, I'm too busy avoiding attacks to even have a chance to compare numbers. At its heart, the game is a big test of your arrangement skills. It's an interesting concept, but I still prefer the freedom you had in KH1. Uncovering the mysterious plot and revisiting familiar Disney worlds was the best part for me. Except Winnie the Pooh, that part was cringeworthy. Given the constraints of the GBA, Chain of Memories is overall a good game. Most importantly, Nomura fulfilled his mission to bridge the gap between the story of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 by giving more insight into Organization 13 and Nominate. Speaking of these guys, in Kingdom Hearts, the daring few that finished the Hades Cup, completed Jiminy's journal, found all 99 Dalmatians, and sealed every keyhole, got to see this secret movie. So far, we've been introduced to the organization, but this video stirred up a slew of new questions. Like, who are these people? Where is this place? What do these phrases mean? Well, all of those questions will soon be answered. But first, let me ask you a question. Do you like Lion King? I like Lion King. Nomura loves Lion King. Long has he wanted to include that world in Kingdom Hearts, but the original engine lacked the ability to program the movement of a four-legged creature, which is why the team decided to rebuild the entire thing from scratch. On top of that, this new engine allowed the team to do so much more with the combat as well, such as giving Sora transformations and adding QuickTime events. Tarzan, Alice in Wonderland, The Little Mermaid were among Disney's most prominent films, and that's how Nomura went about choosing the worlds in KH1. But this time, he wanted variety over popularity. The team compiled a list of different themes, such as lots of greens, gothic, near future, and so on. While making negotiations in LA at Disney's headquarters, a couple of Nomura's suggestions were initially refused, but then he just so happened to stumble upon a Disney dev in the middle of making a Tron game on his computer. They gave him permission to use it, and bingo! Futuristic theme? Check.
We did it!
As he thought about how different the world of Tron was with the rest of Kingdom Hearts, he figured players would definitely enjoy the contrasts. Then, why not Pirates of the Caribbean as well? I mean, real life mixed with cartoons? How awesome is that? Plus, Square has profound experience in realistic designs with their own library of games. And if we compare the results, I'd say they did a damn fine job.
Captain Jack Sparrow, if you please.
The game was released in December of 2005, called Kingdom Hearts 2. At the end of Chain of Memories, Naminé put Sora into what looked like the hyperbolic time chamber in order to piece together his memories. A year has passed and we find ourselves in Twilight Town, where a boy named Roxas woke up from a vivid dream that he didn't understand. There was only 1 week of summer vacation left, and day by day, memories of Sora rushed in, followed by strange encounters with the organization. On the final day, Roxas uncovered his true purpose, which was to revive Sora's memories. After some outbursts of frustration, he accepted his fate. Sora's memories were fully restored and he set out to find Riku, stop the organization, and restore the pathways between worlds. The prologue in this game is intensely long. When I finally got to control Sora, it felt like I just finished the game and started a new one. Believe it or not, this was actually a mistake on Nomura's part. As he was writing out the plot for Twilight Town, length didn't come across as an issue, and eventually it just crumbled. I'm guessing he really wanted to use this intro to give us a nice, juicy overview of Roxas. After all, there was mountains of hype building about this mysterious blonde kid prior to the game's release, so Nomura simply had to live up to it. At first glance, Twilight Town appears to be another version of Traverse Town, right? Yes, but there's more. And no, not this. Rather, the town was meant to represent neither light or dark, hence the sun that seems to never set nor rise. Similarly, both Roxas and Riku were struggling with their identities between light and dark.
It's the road to dawn.
Since Roxas' introduction was so grand, he must be important. So, who is he? Well, first you need to know about these guys. Nobodies are created every time a heart is lost to darkness. A Heartless is created in the process as well. If you recall in Kingdom Hearts 1, Sora unleashed his heart to save Kairi. This gave birth to Roxas, Sora's Nobody, and Naminé, Kairi's Nobody. In fact, the entire organization are Nobodies as well, who in turn control the primitive forms of Nobodies, which are the main enemies in Kingdom Hearts 2. Confused yet? Oh, I've barely scratched the surface. Moving forward, gameplay has vastly improved. Trigger commands added some seriously awesome cinematics, while dual wielding during limit forms felt absolutely fantastic. There's this one part where you're pitted against 1,000 Heartless, and only one word can describe it: epic. Though according to Nomura, this battle took so much processing power that it was almost dropped completely in the end, but thanks to his team's determination, they pulled through. Now, we've discussed how the team goes about choosing Disney's characters, but have you ever wondered how they chose Final Fantasy characters? Well, it's quite simple. Fan requests. Vivi from FF9 and Auron from FFX were two highly requested characters. In fact, Nomura recalls getting a ton just for Auron to be in KH1, but unfortunately, the storyline simply didn't match him. That is, until Hades' underworld came into the picture. You see, Auron is also from a quote-unquote underworld in FFX called the Far Plane, so his inclusion only came natural.
I am the Lord of the Dead!
No wonder no one wants to die.
As we all know, food in the RPG realm has always been quite common, but rarely iconic. The one salty blue popsicle was about to change all of that.
Sea salt ice cream.
When Tokyo Disney Sea first opened its doors in 2001, Nomura was sent an invitation. Lo and behold, sea salt ice cream was on sale. The unique taste of sweet and salty left a huge impression on him afterwards, all the way until he was writing a story for Twilight Town years later. Recalled having ice cream during his childhood summers as well, Nomura decided to make it Roxas's favorite snack. Initially, it was only intended to be a Twilight Town exclusive thing, but thanks to scenario writer Kazushige Nojima, it has become a recurring signature item in the Kingdom Hearts universe. Overall, Kingdom Hearts 2 shows us just how much the dev team has improved, in terms of gameplay to the narrative. Many of our questions and unsolved mysteries have been answered. Nomura even felt he could end the series here, but as we'll find out, that won't be the case. Well guys, that wraps up part 1. In the next episode, we'll be taking a look at why Square Enix had such a hard time counting to 3, and the various platforms Kingdom Hearts will be landing on. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.